Tonight, a Cree woman says she was kicked out of a Prince Albert bar because of her traditional face tattoos. Also, Regina's chief of police says he will retire later this year after 28 years with the force. Plus, garbage is not the only thing found in our landfills. We look at how waste management in Saskatchewan is working to reduce methane emissions.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Wednesday, March 29th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. A Cree woman says a business discriminated against her based on her culture, that she was kicked out of a Prince Albert bar because of her traditional face tattoo. But one of the bar owners is doubling down on their policy. Daniela Ponticelli has the story.
Sarah Carrier-Burns has been reconnecting with her Cree heritage. After learning about traditional tattoos, she received her own last year.
This tattoo that I have on my face stems from our people way back in the day, and it's part of my identity and it's part of my culture. It's not just a tattoo.
It represents her children, and Carrier-Burns says she's only had positive feedback until last Saturday, when she went to the Prince Albert Brewing Company. Her goddaughter recorded this interaction between Carrier-Burns and one of the owners, Rob McLeod.
Number one rule on our dress code is no facial tattoos.
Okay, this is the part of my culture.
I don't care. Put makeup on it, cover it up. It's not allowed in our bars.
CBC News reached McLeod by phone on Tuesday.
All I'm going to say is it's our dress code, no facial tattoos. She was offered to put makeup on over top of it, but anyway, she's making a big deal of it. So.
Stacey Fayant says businesses should reflect on why they are banning face tattoos. She's Indigenous and a cultural tattoo artist. She says assimilation robbed Indigenous people of their traditional practice, and that today, visibility matters.
These women who are taking back our chin tattoos so boldly are doing something for our people that's healing us. To see them on a daily basis is healing us and bringing us back to our culture.
Private policies like dress codes have been controversial in the past, often used by businesses as a way to weed out gang affiliation. One human rights lawyer who spoke to CBC News says businesses can refuse service, but only if it does not violate someone's human rights. Saskatchewan's code protects against discrimination based on ancestry. Carrier-Burns says she is considering filing a human rights complaint. Daniela Ponticelli, CBC News, Regina.
Members of the Legislative Assembly paused regular proceedings today to honor a fellow colleague. Regina Wallshaker's MLA Derek Myers passed away on Tuesday. The 45-year-old had been battling cancer. Today, his desk in the Assembly was covered with flowers. His wife, siblings, and parents were in the gallery to listen to tributes. More than half of the MLAs in attendance spoke for more than 2 hours, reflecting on their friend and colleague, including Education Minister Dustin Duncan, who grew up with the Myers family in the Mydale area.
Mr. Speaker, I sent a text message to Derek on Saturday night. Just wanted him to know that I was thinking about him. And we were told that he would get the message, but he may or may not reply, which was okay. And about an hour later, he replied. And it said, "Hanging in, every day is a gift."
The MLA spoke about Myers' positive attitude even during difficult times, the commitment and the impact he had during his short time in office. Myers was elected in 2020, and before political life, he was a longtime sports anchor at Global News in Regina. A Regina charity is filing a charter challenge against the government for forcing people on social income assistance to take their Canada Pension Plan payments early. And as Pratush Dayal reports, it's not the first time people have gone to court to try to change the said program policies.
Shaylee Rosness lives with cerebral palsy and ADHD. She's on the Saskatchewan Assured Income for Disability or SET program, which provides her with $237 a month for personal expenses. She's one of about 18,000 households receiving SET payments. In last week's budget, the government announced those payments will be increasing by $30 a month, but Shaylee says that's not enough. When she started school, she was required to take out a student loan because she was on SET. After that, her benefits were clawed back, and she was left with a $46,000 student loan. Her family filed a human rights complaint and received an out-of-court settlement.
It's tedious, it's stressful, and honestly, if I didn't have Dad here doing half of the groundwork, actually like 90% of the groundwork, I wouldn't have been able to fight any of this, to stand up for myself and try to change policies.
221 pages of policy, 62 pages of regulations, and an unknown number of internal procedures. One of the, I'll say loopholes, or one of the downfalls is even the workers themselves, the assured income specialists, they themselves don't seem to fully understand the policies themselves.
Colin says the SET program needs to change because not everyone can advocate for themselves. Now CBC News has learned the Regina Anti-Poverty Ministry also wants a policy changed.
We're filing a charter challenge because we believe and know that it's discriminatory to force people on the SED program to take out early CPP.
Gilmer says the 2020 Manitoba court ruling sets a precedent. It found a 65-year-old man who was on disability payments was being discriminated against because he was forced to apply early for his CPP when he turned 60. That went against the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
It has long-term implications for post-65. So it means that they have less income after age 65. So due to situational poverty in their early 60s and due to disabilities, it means that they're forced to live in deeper poverty for the rest of their lives. And that's been deemed to be discriminatory.
Gilmer says Saskatchewan and New Brunswick are the only provinces forcing people on disability benefits to take CPP early. That means their CPP payments can be up to 48% less. He hopes his legal challenge will change that. As for Shaylee Rosness, she's just finished her social work degree at the University of Regina. She hopes she can help others navigate the system. Pratyush Dayal, CBC News, Saskatoon.
3 weeks ago, a Pizza Hut employee was randomly shot in the head while working in Edmonton. The shooter is believed to be the same teen responsible for killing 2 police constables days later. Rich Albert's injuries are life-changing, but his family says he's lucky to be alive. Emily Fitzpatrick reports.
It was just after midnight on March 12th when a stranger entered a Westmount Pizza Hut, raised his gun, and fired. Behind the counter was 55-year-old Rich Albert. Hours later, his sister got a call in Regina.
100 things go through your mind. Is he going to live? Is he going to die? If he does live, how is he going to be? It's just such a mixed emotions.
Albert lost his left eye and is dealing with a traumatic brain injury. After a week in the ICU, he's working to recover.
He's able to talk to his wife and to his family, and mixed, some of his conversations are a little bit mixed up and stuff, but he does understand. He understands that he is in a facility and that he needs to get better.
The same 16-year-old teen who shot Albert is believed to be responsible for the deaths of Edmonton police constables Travis Jordan and Brett Ryan, who were ambushed 4 days later in an apartment complex near the restaurant. EPS has linked the weapon to both crimes.
It is completely senseless, and it's an act of violence that was completely random, and my brother just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
The family has chosen to focus on the future as Albert recovers in a rehabilitation facility.
Good days, bad days, lots of fatigue, lots of pain still. But he's working with the therapists there to improve his overall health and well-being.
A GoFundMe has been created for the family to support the long road Albert has ahead of him, in hopes that he can eventually heal both the physical and psychological wounds this attack has left him with. Emily Fitzpatrick, CBC News, Edmonton.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and the rest of the Liberal caucus are now outselling the federal budget. It was delivered yesterday and includes billions in new spending, along with a bigger deficit.
I think people need to understand that this is a time where Canadians need that extra support.
And some of that extra support includes a new national dental plan, which the NDP is claiming credit for, saying they forced the Liberals to deliver on that commitment. The Conservatives are slamming the budget, saying it has nothing to do to address the housing shortage, reduce inflation, or fight crime. The centerpiece of the budget is big spending to promote green tech, but the Bloc Québécois says much of that money could end up in the pockets of oil and gas companies. Regina's Police Chief Evan Bray has announced he will retire from the job at the end of June. Bray joined the force 28 years ago after a career in broadcasting, but it was always his dream to become a police officer. Bray has served as the chief for the past 7 years, and today he spoke about his love for the job and his fellow officers.
I'd like Jody and Trevor, if you can go by the RGH and let me know. You know, I wanted to be a cop since I was 5. I literally, my whole life, all I wanted to be was a police officer, an RCMP officer. You can bleep that out if you want. But that was, I grew up on a farm in rural Saskatchewan, and that's all I wanted to be. And I got a pretty good indication at the end of high school that it wasn't going to happen immediately, that I wasn't going to get accepted into the RCMP. And so they basically said, don't put your life on hold. You should get some experience, you know, do something else. I had a guidance counselor at work that said, well, you like to talk, maybe you should go into broadcasting. And he pushed me into a radio school that I did. And then I went into radio and worked in radio and a little bit in TV. Maybe sounds corny, but I've heard it said many times, policing is a bit of a calling. Like people, either it's something that you are drawn to and you decide this is what I want to do or not. It's certainly been that way for me. And I have not regretted one step of it. It's been absolutely outstanding. I'm humbled every day by our cops. You know, I think the last few years have been tough on policing, and I feel it the most through our cops, because it's not an easy job, and you're often being asked to make tough decisions. And these people, who I consider to be like brothers and sisters, are doing it day in and day out, and doing it without fail, and doing it with pride. And I'm proud. I think you can see that. I'm proud of them. So you have to take care of them. And they need to know that you're taking care of them. They need to know that you're making it a priority. Sorry about the burst of emotion. For the people that I work with, they know I'm a bit of a teddy bear sometimes, so that happens.
Well, we are just days from flipping the calendar over to April, and look at all that snow in Regina. We did get a bit of a warm up today, but we still aren't quite getting to where we should typically be this time of year. As we slide into the backside of this week, it looks like things will improve a bit more. Heather Morrison will explain after the break. Stay with us.
Update is brought to you by Crestview Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, part of the Capital Automotive Group.
Welcome back. Heather Morrison joins me now with a look at the forecast. And you know, Heather, this morning I got a funny look leaving the house in bright florals. And I simply state, I am dressing for the weather I want, not the weather I have. And I see you have joined me in florals on the quest for the weather we want today.
Yes, that's right. It's the outfit attack, looking for that spring weather. It's kind of working out for us. Let's take a look here at what we've got going on in the province right now. So not too bad compared to what we had on Monday. These temperatures aren't that bad, but they're still below seasonal. We're about 6 to 8 degrees below where we should be in terms of high, but of course milder than it used to. And Regina, I'm sorry. You know, I did the whole turn it off, turn it on again, but my computer just doesn't want to give you a temperature. You're sitting at -4 right now. So not too bad. We are going to get a little chillier overnight overnight. We're going to wake up, but not as cold as it was this morning. Here's the big thing that I really saw today was that huge warm up throughout the day. Saskatoon, we started at minus 17. We went all the way to minus 2. That's a 15-degree difference. Regina warmed up 17 degrees, 20 degrees. What a span in one day there for La Ronge. I'll tell you, Sam, I went for my run early this morning, and even though I'm a weather person, even though I knew it was going to be cold, I thought there's something wrong here. I was so cold as I was running, and now it's really mild as most people are heading home for their day. Now, tomorrow morning, we are going to get another cool morning, but it's not going to be as cold as we have been experiencing at the beginning part of the week. So as you can see, they're minus 9 in Saskatoon, minus 18 in Regina. I would say that's pretty frosty, and that's because this upper atmosphere that's moving across the province and putting us in this low is mostly going over that western part. It's not quite reaching that eastern section. That's why you see them a little bit colder over there. In terms of the skies, it's not too bad today. We had some snow earlier in the north. We're going to have tomorrow a little bits and bobs of precipitation move through. You can see these little snowstorms bringing a little bit of snowfall to different sections of the province throughout the day, but nothing significant. It's mostly going to be clear skies, and then we've got some more snowfall coming into the north on Friday. Now, it is windy. That is one thing that has arrived this week. We had mild winds at the beginning of the week, and now we're really seeing that pick up. So this is what we're seeing tomorrow in terms of wind gusts. And then Friday, it's going to get even gustier. You can see in Swift Current, Maple Creek, wind gusts up to 56 or 49 kilometers per hour. So gusty, mild days, that's what we're looking for. But Sam, there is even more mild weather on the way. So let's take a look at the 7-day forecast here from Regina. So as you can see, tomorrow, Friday, we're going to be sticking around the same day or the same temperature that we have been. But look at Friday. That's when that warm up's coming. We really get ourselves settled into a nice place in the upper atmosphere. That's where we want to be. That's much more seasonal for this time of year. In Saskatoon, we have minus 2 for tomorrow, 0 for Friday, and then Saturday, nice plus 2. That's when I'm going to really get out there and enjoy my run, but it is going to be a cold, of course, on those overnights. So Sam, there you go. That's a look at your weather forecast. You did a great job wearing your flower shirt because we have got some warmer temperatures. They're just not going to be here till the weekend.
I don't know what I'm going to do about the overnights, though. I can't help you there.
Well, how many more? Do you have flower pajamas?
On it. Thanks, Heather.
You're welcome.
Well, if you're looking to try surfing, but you have a fear of the ocean, this might be the place for you. The world's biggest standing wave pool has opened outside of Honolulu with waves that can hit up to 2 meters high. I bet you're wondering why they built a wave pool in Hawaii, which has some of the best waters in the world. Well, since surfing has become an Olympic discipline, the pros need a place to practice, and the ocean can be a little bit moody, but the public can also use it too. Have fun. We'll be back after the break. Our province produces a lot of methane, and that's a problem because methane is a powerful greenhouse gas. But there are industries here working on reducing emissions. In the first part of his series on methane solutions in Saskatchewan, Ethan Williams shows us how the waste management industry is making improvements.
This is what about 2 months' worth of garbage looks like. Collected from homes and businesses in Regina and left to rot here in the city's landfill. But amidst the smells coming from this waste, there's something much more harmful that can't be smelled and can't be seen: methane gas. Methane is a greenhouse gas, the second most commonly found in Canada after carbon dioxide. But unlike CO2, methane is much more harmful. Estimates vary, but the Government of Canada says over a 100-year period, methane has about 25 times the warming power of CO2, and it's responsible for 30% of observed global warming to date. Methane is very commonly found in this country, from natural sources like the decay of plants in wetlands, to man-made sources like the production of oil and gas. Government and industries claim they're doing what they can to reduce emissions, but what's actually being done?
So here, this is one of our wells.
We start back here at the Regina landfill, where we meet with Shelley Wellman, the environmental services manager with the city. And we're taken to the top of one of the landfill's garbage mounds. According to Wellman, the landfill is one of the main producers of methane emissions in Regina.
When the garbage decomposes in the landfill, there's no oxygen in the hill. So through the degradation process, methane is what's produced.
But here at the city's landfill, they found a way to capture those methane emissions and make money while doing it. And it starts with these wells. Methane is collected in the 51 wells on site and is sent here. This is the landfill's gas-to-energy plant. The methane from the wells is cooled and purified at this facility. Computers and monitors carefully track its progress, and the facility includes an engine, which then uses the methane as a type of fuel. The engine powers a generator, which can produce up to 1 megawatt of power.
So the power production is an important part because it turns a waste product into a renewable resource. So instead of just burning it, which is beneficial in its own way because it removes the greenhouse gases, we actually have an end product that we can use to power homes or anything else.
It's a revenue source for the city, too. It sells plant-produced power to Sask Power for about $1 million per year. And that power can provide electricity to 1,000 homes in Regina. It's believed the project will remove the equivalent of 8,000 cars from the road. The remnants of the gas not used in the power process are flared off, converting the gas into carbon dioxide. Still harmful to the environment, yes, but much less so than methane. With upgrades coming to the plant's flare and 20 more wells installed, it's believed the plant's efficiency and intake ability will increase. But Wellman says there are even more proactive steps that can be taken to reduce methane emissions.
Although methane removal and our engine is a great way to remove the methane from our landfill, the best way is to prevent it from coming to the landfill.
Large-scale waste disposal is just one industry that produces methane emissions, and this plant is just one way methane is being reduced. In the next part in our series on methane reduction, we'll head into the field to find out how methane emissions are being tackled in the agricultural industry. Ethan Williams, CBC News, Regina.
And Heather is back with one last look at your weather and perhaps some flower power.
That's right. Yes, I am a child of the 90s. Well, let's take a look at what we're expecting overnight here in the province. Let's start with Regina. Now, my cameraman, Don, told me he wouldn't put me to air if I was telling people we were waking up to minus 27 wind chills again. So here you go. Minus 15, minus 21. I made it to air tonight. So it is a little bit of a chilly morning still again tomorrow, but we are warming up throughout the day. That should be it for the cold mornings. We're not expected to get as cold overnight on Thursday or Friday. And let's take a look here in Saskatoon. We are going to get down. It's cooling off a little bit even more for the morning. -8 with a wind chill -15. We're faring a little bit better in Saskatoon these days. And then coming up, we're going to be about -3, which is still about 9 degrees below seasonal for this time of year. So not enough flower power, I guess, Sam.
I didn't know Don had that kind of power over the weather. So if you could high five him after this for me, that'd be great.
Let's see what he wants next.
All right. Thanks, Heather.
You're welcome.
That is it for us tonight. For News Anytime, you can always head to our website or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Glenn Reed will be back with more tonight at 11. Thanks for watching and have a great night.